Well. Good to be back. It's been a long time, Adrian.
It
What do you have
has.
to What do you have to say for yourself? Yeah. How long have we been without podcasting?
About 3 weeks, I think, maybe four even.
Let me tell you. Okay, here's the deal. Sorry for not being around. Rehab was real.
It
Oh,
was exact. I knew
I,
those days. Those days were too.
you knew
Why?
you
Why
knew
is exact?
I
Why is
was
it
writing.
exactly like 28 days?
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Was it weird that I could only send you courier mailed letters and I didn't have my phone to text you? Yes. Do you need to ask about it? No. All right. It's my
I
business.
mean, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't think it was weird. I just, I didn't think letters were weird. I just read them and that was it.
Listen, I didn't need rehab. I just wanted to get the Jake experience.
I mean, it should be a thing like the what is it? It's a Seinfeld bit too, right?
A
There's an
ride
episode where the
fantasy
guy
camp.
yeah, well no, where one of the I
No.
think is the one where they invest money and they're trying to get the guy that's supposed to tell them, or which one is it? I don't know if it's that one. No, yeah, it is that one. Yeah, where they're trying to figure out how when to sell because the stock keeps going down, but the guy's at the
Oh
hospital
yeah.
and they're wondering if there's something wrong with him, and George is like, well, maybe he's just there to like to relax, like just and Jerry's
Oh
like, who the
yeah.
hell goes to the doctor, to the hospital to relax, like to have a vacation? But, rehab could be that. It sounds, from what I've heard, it could be a place where you could just go and spend 30 days just chilling with no phone. And somebody, like Jake said, they tell you what to do, what to eat.
Where to get
It's like
baptized at the
camp.
pond?
Yeah, it's like camp.
No, no. I like it. I like it. It could be like a ride at Wet and Wild too. Just hey, you want the Jake
Yeah.
experience? Pay pay $500. We'll put you away for 28 days.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like I think that's what you were thinking of, the when Kramer goes to fantasy camp, to the baseball fantasy camp.
Yeah.
And they're like, this already lives the fancy life.
His life is a fantasy.
I'm saying people should pay $500 to live like Jake.
I mean, he does live a good life. He's got artificial turf in his backyard, so let's be clear
That's what
here.
I that's what I heard.
Well, what's going down, man? It's been too long, no matter what the reason.
Man, a lot of things have happened since the last time. We missed the whole Luca back into town. We
Dude,
missed the whole, it sucks to rehash that kind of thing, but it's still like, I think that day, I think we all shed a sports tear.
yes.
That game when he
Yeah, we
when he
I
when
mean,
he came back.
that was yeah, that was crazy. Did you plug into Jake's Plaza uh stream whenever they were
Oh
live streaming
yeah,
from the Plaza, him and TC?
yeah, yeah.
It was
And
crazy, but
I was
it
gonna
was
send you.
crazy.
I don't know if I sent y'all the thing, but like there was I think, I don't know what it is that comes up on Instagram. I think it's D Magazine. They like posted, I guess, like a
Yes.
little kind of their little story about it. And did you see that like Jake was
Oh,
right in the
really?
middle of it? Yeah. Like it
No.
just happened to catch him, I guess. It just happened to catch him walking through when they were doing the Fire Nico
Oh,
chant. Yeah, you could just kind of see him
yeah.
walking in front of the camera. No, but that
I
was a
didn't
good
see it.
bit.
It was a great bit, and it was weird because so one thing you and I talked about off air was the was how small the media world is. So he saw, who did he see from the ticket? He saw the ticket hovel. The ticket was out there, and
Yeah.
I think Corby and them were out there, and he wanted to
And
respect them, right? But
yeah, and there was somebody out there that was also doing the same. They were also out there interviewing and stuff, like, doing the same kind of bit.
was it Deddy? It was Jacob Dedamore, I think,
Maybe, I suppose. I
and
think so.
right,
I think so. Yeah.
and he gave him a big hug, dude, and it
Yeah.
was great. It was
Yeah.
awesome. And then Soroy, the crazy Soroy, his girlfriend, who's also in media,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, so she came up and Deddy gave her a hug, and that was hilarious because Jake, I think at that point it was Cash Soroy or maybe Soroy, was with him. Do you remember this, or am I
Yeah.
just
Yeah. And
dreaming?
no, yeah. And
Because
yeah,
they were
because
like,
I don't know which one it
oh,
was, but yeah, one of them was in studio and the other one was
so
out there, and that's his wife, right? That's his wife that was out there.
it's his girlfriend, soon to be wife,
Yeah.
maybe, or
Yeah.
fiance, something like that.
Yeah.
But he was like, when he was like, hey, hands off, right?
Yeah. Like, hey, chill, chill.
he was still in the studio because he was going into he was gonna leave Dan in the studio.
Yeah, to go to the
So Roy
game.
was, and he was about to go. Yes, and
Yeah,
then they asked him. They were like, well, like they were doing the tit for tat bit.
yeah, yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
And so he was like,
That
hey,
that's
let's
that's
do it
one of
with
the
her. And
that's
then they
one of the
asked him.
bits that like yeah, yeah. That's what I was gonna say that they were trying to do with her.
And then they ask him, "Hey, have you ever seen that from your woman?" He's like, "No, not yet."
Not yet.
Immediately, like how funny he. So Roy is so funny, dude. It just I don't know. Yeah,
I tell you, that
it
trip.
was sad. It was
Nah,
really
for sure.
funny. I enjoyed it, but it was very sad seeing I don't know Tim McMahon up there. Uh, he was getting interviewed and stuff, and just the whole experience was weird. And then you, and the guys, our friends, the crew, right? The Pinche
Hmm.
crew, we were all hanging out on Instagram talking together leading up. And so we were kind of watching live after that happened. And then, going through the video and Luca crying and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, I think I told you or you told me, we all told each other, I couldn't watch it. I stopped it. I paused it. I was like, I'm out. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, I
It was too
I
hard, dude.
watched it, but it wasn't easy. I watched it, but yeah, it was hard.
It was yeah, dude, like that just again, not to we're gonna be talking about this forever, right?
Oh yeah,
And
that's something that's not gonna heal.
it's not gonna heal. I don't think it'll ever heal. It was tough. It was hard to watch. It was awesome that he went off. He went off for 45 that night.
Yeah, like 42, 45, somewhere around there. I think it was
Yeah,
45
he
actually.
went
Yeah,
off. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he went off. He did great, as I thought he would. But didn't make me feel any better, you know.
No.
But what's funny is so that was the biggest milestone, right? That we hadn't covered. But if you pair it with what happened last night with the Stars,
Yeah.
Miko, which by the way, so I told you earlier today, the dude's a stud. We know it. For him to
Hmm.
come from Colorado to knock them out, like it was amazing. Uh, but I think I have a new shirt idea. Hear me out.
Hmm.
Instead of fire Nico, why don't we fire up hire Miko? Am I right?
Oh yeah. Hey, that's a good bit.
Let's
Oh
get with
yeah,
Ty
yeah,
Walker and the E6 boys and
yeah. And sends
hire
it over.
Miko with the green and black, right? The stars for this
Yeah, with
run.
the
We'll
yeah.
see how many we sell.
Hey, nowadays, like I said, all that stuff works.
It
Did you
works.
watch the whole game
It
last night,
worked.
or?
So I I watched till the second period, and then the last thing I watched was a shorthanded goal, right? So 2-0 Avalanche. And then I
Yeah,
was like, I was tired, man. I went to bed. I woke up this morning like at 4:30, 5, and immediately I look up what happened. I saw
yeah,
the replay, and I was like, wait. So I just looked up the schedule, whatever, and it was like
yeah.
4-2 right at the end. And I
Hmm.
was like 4-2 stars. And wait, what? And so I just watched the
What happened?
replay. So that's how I watched it. But dude, it was
No, and mine
insane,
and mine was
insane.
the opposite because I was messing around. I was watching other stuff, and I was in the office working and stuff, and I I knew that they were gonna play, but I had kind of forgot that the time was gonna be early. I thought it's gonna be like an 8:30, nine
Yeah,
o'clock, like they do all the games. You know what I mean? And then I remembered,
yes,
and I was like, oh shit! I was like, the Stars are supposed to be playing today. So I looked on the sport my score app to see if it was on or where it was going to be on or what. And I go to look and it's 2-0, but it's at the second intermission. So I missed the first two periods. I didn't watch the first two periods. I didn't know what was going on. So when I went to the game, it was the second intermission about to start the third. And that's when I started watching. And I was watching, I was like, damn. But I had a feeling like if the Stars, I don't know, I just have a feeling like you know what I mean? But when they got to around, what was it? Like the like 13 minute, 12 minutes somewhere around there when they scored the
yeah,
first one, I was like,
yeah.
okay, well they're gonna get
That's
one.
when
They're yeah, but to me I was like, well they're gonna get one. Like they're not gonna get shut out. Like they're gonna press, so they're gonna get one. But then when they got the
yeah,
second one, like not too far after, I was like, oh shit. Like
bro.
it's
And
honestly
that
now it's a new game. Now it's a new game. It's a brand new game. You know what I'm saying? And I knew like when they got the
yes,
third one, like that's it. Like that's it. Like they
that's
took
it.
the life out of him. You could see like even Ray's or
Yeah.
was it who's the one that's on TV? He was like on radio. He's like, he just looked at the bench and he's like,
Uh,
looks like freaking like rigor mortis just set in. Like they were
well, and
stunned, stunned.
it was, it was, it was the way they did it. So Miko scored the first goal, and then was it Johnson, the kid that hit that angle shot? Was that the second goal, or am I
No,
confusing? Because the other Miko was
I
off the
think he
skate.
got, no, I think he got both goals.
No, no, he had a hat trick and the
Yeah,
assist,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's
But
what I'm
I'm
saying.
thinking
But
of the order.
I think he got the first two. I think,
Okay,
and then the
so
young
the
guy,
second,
the
yeah, so
third one was
the
the other
third,
guy that I didn't recognize. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of Stars
that's
watching,
John.
so I
Yeah,
didn't recognize the name. Yeah, and then
yeah,
he got the last one.
and then he got the last one.
Yeah,
The one I really okay. So the first one was he was so open, but for him to hit that top shelf in the left, right? That's
yeah,
that first one he hit,
yeah.
insane. The second one was off the skate,
The wraparound.
incredible.
Yeah.
The wraparound,
At first, I
right?
was like,
And the
how the hell
third,
did he get? But then when they showed, like, oh, it's because
yeah,
he got the skate and it went in because the stick didn't look like it went all the way around. So I was like, how do you get that
no.
wraparound? Like, it did. But then when they showed in slow motion from the tie, you can see like it wrapped and it hit the skate and it went in.
Well, what's funny is, and I can't tell for sure. We need to go back and look at it. Go back and look at it. I think,
Mm.
if I'm not mistaken, I think that crazy MFR dude, Miko, I think, I mean, this is my opinion, whatever, but I think he meant to do that. As
Yeah,
crazy as that sounds, there was no way because he was falling. He was
yeah,
on the ice, and there was no way he could wrap around. But when he saw the dude with the skate open, I forget his name or whatever. I'm not, again,
yeah, yeah.
but
I'm not either.
yeah, but when he did it, he was almost playing pool, dude. He was like, if I hit that corner, it'll bounce
Yeah,
right back in, and he
like
just slapped him on the skate.
yeah.
Insane.
Hockey is the
I don't know.
craziest thing sometimes that looks like stuff is accidental, but like when you look at like when the puck is in midair and these dudes do
Yeah.
like the redirect with the stick, and sometimes they're
Yes.
like that was by accident, but then you watch it in slow motion and you see him look at it and you see him pull the stick and like redirect that
Yeah.
whole like that's just fucking crazy. I don't even know
It's
how they see that
it's
shit.
it's crazy, man.
It's crazy, man. I'll tell you.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
crazy, man.
I don't even know how they see that.
I don't know, man, but it's been a so I was telling Andy, my wife, like I was like, hey, what we're watching is maybe a little bit of, speaking of, again, Luca, Miko, like this is a little salve for the wound,
Hmm.
where it's like it's the other way around. Not the same circumstance, right? But like this
Yeah,
dude put the Avalanche to bed. Came from them. We pay good money. That's the way it should be
yeah.
done. And watching him succeed like that, getting his flowers, everybody was throwing the hat trick hats out on the ice. I mean, come on. Like, it doesn't make up for it, but I think I'm
Yeah,
more of a
and
Stars fan now.
yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't think it was as big of a thing, but he was also kind of in the same situation. Like, the team didn't want to re-sign him; they weren't going to give him his big money. It was the same thing, so they traded him away, I believe, to Carolina, and then Carolina
Yes.
traded him to Dallas. So it was kind of like the
Yeah.
same thing. Like the team didn't want to pay him his money. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I don't think
When
he's
he,
as big of a, but it is a big name because I remember when the news came through and everything. Like I said, just the way people talk. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of hockey. We don't watch a lot of hockey. We're football
no, we
number
don't.
one, basketball number
Yeah.
two, and then like it's baseball and hockey and whatever else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
But
then
so just the way they were
cricket,
talking about it,
and then,
yeah. What's
Grand
it called?
Prairie,
The uh polo. There
polo,
is a
equestrians.
professional cricket team now, though, right?
Yeah. So that's what I said, Grand Prairie. You remember the Grand
Yeah,
Prairie
that's what I'm
Airhawks,
saying.
the
Like,
minor league team?
yeah, I just didn't know where they were from, but I know they were playing out there at Lone Star, or whatever, right? Or
Yeah.
that they
It's
moved
the
from
old
there.
air. No, no, yeah, no.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I believe. Remember?
Yeah, yeah,
Because we would go out there to the Airhawk Stadium and
yes,
minor league baseball, way minor league, and they reconverted
yes,
that
yes. Now,
to
now
cricket
it
now.
just clicked. I just remember now. It
Yeah.
just clicked. Yeah, yeah.
So cricket and the Grand Prairie Cobra snake that's still on the loose,
Both.
they're in Grand Prairie. So
I was gonna tell you after a little bit that we were a little while that we were talking about uh Jake and the ticket and stuff. Like I said, I have to figure out a way. Sometime during the week, we need to take like a quick 15 or something to test some stuff on the computer so we can play audio and things like that. Because I can't do it from the phone; it's got
ooh,
to be done from the computer. But I had a couple of clips this week on the ticket. I just happened to be listening because there was a couple of days, well, Wednesday, I think, and then there was another day where like, um, I think they were a little late posting the pod, and so like I said, if I once we get off of work, like I put on what I put on the ticket if there's no pod to listen to yet or whatever. But they, Bob mentioned they were talking about the draft. They were about the whole Shador thing and whatever.
Yeah,
But
the
they were
slide.
talking about the
Yeah,
prank. Yeah, but they were talking about the prank that they did on Shador. That the kid that did it was like the son of a coordinator of I think the Falcons or something. That's how
the
he got the
Falcons. The
number
Falcons.
and yes and all that.
Yeah,
So he was talking about like this is like this kid's thing. Like this is what he's gonna be known for. Like kids do stupid shit and stuff, but this is what he's gonna be known for. Like everybody's gonna remember him for this thing. And he's like, and he's gonna
yes,
have this gonna now this kid's gonna have like his own like Kemp spin. You know what I mean? Like this is gonna be his thing. So I was like, oh, they actually like set the bit. Like this that like that's a bit. And at first I was like, maybe Kemp spin has nothing to do with Jake Kemp. He just took it because of his
no,
name or whatever. Like but I remember like no, that's like his bit. So they're
yes,
calling out a bit that's theirs. That's not what I'm saying? That nobody else
yes,
is gonna confuse it with anything else. Like they're giving it
yes,
there's because there was no reason for him to say that. He could just be like, hey, this kid's gonna be
no,
remembered for this. Like he's gonna have this whenever people think of the draft or Shador Sanders, right, they're gonna remember like this is the kid
yeah,
that prank called him or whatever. But
right.
he went out of his way
I
to be like he's gonna have his own Kemp spin. Like this is gonna be his
yes,
bit.
yes. So I didn't hear that. Thank you for bringing that up. So what's funny is if you remember, so the origin of Kempspin, if I'm not mistaken, it was
Mhm.
Deadspin, right? Do you remember Deadspin?
Yeah, yeah,
Like that platformer that it was a blog or something like that
yeah. It
back in
was
the day,
something.
and it was
I
like,
don't.
yeah,
I
like they
remember
would just
reading it a couple of times.
yeah, and it was basically like, here's what you don't know about these people, right? In
Yeah,
sports or whatever it was, something like that. So then yes, Deadspin and
yeah,
then Kempspin is only Jake's. And I think it's
yeah.
funny you bring up Bob. So Bob, such a nice dude, and it speaks to the division between Cumulus, the ticket dudes, on air personalities,
Hmm.
and producers and off air, and then the Dumb Zone, right? What's funny about it
Yeah,
is they've all said it. They've all said it. They love each other. Like Bob
hmm,
had breakfast with Jake. Jake mentioned it on the Dumb Zone a couple weeks ago, I think, that they went
yeah,
and had breakfast. He talks to Dan. They text. They talk all the time.
yeah,
They just can't talk much about it on the ticket.
yeah,
But the Dumb Zone can.
yeah,
The Dumb
yeah.
Zone
Yeah.
can.
They can do
So
whatever they want.
so yeah. And to your point, I think what it is like Gordon Keith for a fact, Corby, a bunch of the ticket guys, and especially Bob, they're making an effort to try to do their little bit. And it's not Rage Against the Machine, the Cumulus machine, but it
Yeah,
is a little bit of, if we can, because it's a ticket. The ticket thrives on,
yeah,
number one, beating up the Cumulus mega
yeah.
station, whatever, the
It always
Overlord,
has a
but
cumulus
also,
station.
yes, a Cumulus station. We don't have any money, but
Yeah,
I think you're right, and calling out a trend. I think it's going to get more and more to where, just like Ted Emmerich in a major
yeah,
championship, he will shout out the ticket bits. I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's what Bob is doing. I think that's what the guys are doing, because you heard we already shared about this in a previous pod that you and I did about
mm,
Monty, when Monty said,
yeah,
"Oh, I was listening to a podcast about staying overnight." Right, so that's his
yeah.
way of like a tip of the, hey, like f you guys, f you Cumulus. We're gonna talk about the Dumb Zone. If you get
Because
it, you
they
get it.
know,
But that's the
yeah,
ticket.
they know their audience overlaps in a lot of spots, so
That's right.
they're not saying things that nobody's gonna understand. That a lot of people are
Right.
going to understand what they're saying. And I wonder, like this is my
Yes.
theory. I wonder also if like Cumulus has been in trouble for a long time. I just saw a thing the other day where they like basically got taken off the what's it called, like the stock exchange, basically because the stock is so freaking
Whoa.
worth it's so worthless right now that they got taken off. Like you can't buy stock anymore. Like it was at like 32 cents or some shit. So I wonder if they know
Oh.
that like, hey, maybe we're gonna get sold. Somebody's gonna buy us, and once Cumulus is out of the way, like that's the issue with Cumulus. maybe if we get bought out by somebody
Well, hang
else,
on.
iHeart, which is buying a lot of stations, maybe they're in the same boat because they're in the same boat. iHeart is what owned um, the Freak and
Yeah,
97.1, so
yeah,
they're
yeah,
already
yeah.
used to dealing with that kind of thing. So I wonder if they kind of see that coming and be like, hey, we're gonna be able to soon. Maybe they're not gonna come back to the station, but maybe we'll be able to bring them on or cover spots maybe sometime, or just what I'm saying,
Whoa.
be able to have them on as get because the issue is Cumulus. It's not the ticket. The
Yes,
issue is Cumulus. And if
always
Cumulus
has
is
been.
no longer the owner, if they end up selling the station to someone else, then that's a whole other, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole other thing. And I wonder if that
Well,
would
okay.
change.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, no, I just say I would. I just wonder if that would change. You know what I'm saying? Just the relationship, and the only thing really keeping them from doing these things is Cumulus, not the ticket itself, but
Right,
Cumulus. And if
right,
they're out of the way,
right.
and somebody else owns them, they can maybe somebody else smarter, a better company can be like, hey, we can benefit from crossing these things. Yes, we're not gonna have them back, and they probably I don't think they would ever come back for anything. But just like Norm comes back for things, maybe they come back and cover a shift, or they can have them on for stuff, or they can cross, promote things or whatever. Like I said, once Cumulus is out of the way, who knows? And I wonder if that's why maybe they kind of see that shift, and they're a little more comfortable like doing these things that they weren't doing before. And there was another one too. I think it was Friday. They were doing Why Today Doesn't Suck, and Monty called out a birthday. It was somebody's birthday. I don't know, but it was a Jacob Kemp, and everybody was like, "Yeah, no, not that one." Like everybody just kind of like set the bit. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's Jake's birthday because I
Yeah,
haven't
no,
heard them say anything about it. So it was just
no.
somebody with the same name. But everybody was like, "Yeah, no, not that one." Kind of like insinuating that, like, no, you know
Like
what I
a,
mean?
like
So
a,
there's these little things with not everybody, but the people that are more, you know what I mean? Like there's always these little things that you hear,
yeah,
and they'll kind of give
yeah,
these little callbacks where they weren't doing that before.
right. And I think it's funny. So okay, so you mentioned that I had no idea that Cumulus was going that route and being called off market with their stock price. But this was a random thing, but you just reminded
Mhm.
me of this. So I was listening to man, it may have been the crossover talk during the Musers and the Invasion, maybe last
Mhm.
week or week before, but Junior, before he went on vacation or went to rehab, wherever he's been the last week, I don't know where he is,
Yeah.
but Junior, Junior was talking about how he took his daughter for his family Easter egg hunt, and she's the only
Mhm.
little one. So they had the
Yeah.
eggs, right? And some of them had
Yeah.
dollars, and she got $3 in three different
Yeah.
eggs, his daughter, right? And then Donovan immediately says, "Oh man, $3, you could buy like 10,000 shares of Cumulus," and they all laughed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to your point, I didn't realize that part what you mentioned to me. I didn't know that, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's funny. They're just doing what they normally do, which is go against
Yeah.
Cumulus, right?
Cumulus bits.
But
Yeah.
now that you mentioned it, I think a lot of well, not a lot, but I'm certain that for the host at least, there's compensation packages that involve profit sharing and stock,
Hmm.
right? And so I think with Donovan's comment, right, and then they kept going. It was very funny,
Yeah.
right? Whatever they were saying, they were like, oh yeah, and you can tell her how it's gone to 1 cent later, and she really didn't. She really spent it
Yeah.
for nothing. It was something like that. I'm paraphrasing,
Yeah. And
but
that's what I'm saying.
uh,
Like after like I said, I don't listen a whole lot to the ticket, but like after Dan and Jake left, right, and the
yeah,
whole lawsuit and everything happened, like after that, you could tell that they stopped with the Cumulus jokes. There was no longer the drops of
mm,
like a Cumulus station or talking bad about like, hey, that's why we don't do this. We don't get paid for, you know what I'm saying? All these little things that they used to always joke about, like it
they got
completely stopped. Yes, and here recently, like all that stuff has started coming back. I wonder if they're like, look, you really can't do shit. Like the station is gonna get sold. It's too successful. Like somebody's gonna take it over.
yeah,
I don't think they're worried about, well, Cumulus will go out of business and the ticket will go out of business. Like no, they're gonna have to sell it to make some money, and somebody else will own it. So they don't have anything to worry about as far as that's concerned. You know what I mean? Now you can make fun of
okay,
them because they got no power. They got basically
yeah.
they can't do anything. And like I said, I've noticed those little things come back that they weren't doing for a very long time. And now, like I said, those jokes, like you heard, like I heard too, like they were talking about it. And I think that that's a thing that they also see that, like, hey, we're about to switch teams. Like somebody else is about to buy this station, and maybe it'll be better. Maybe it'll be, who knows?
You know who I think is a front runner to buy them out if this
Mm,
happens? There's iHeartRadio, right?
yeah.
But what about, hear me out. It's not
Mm.
crazy. No Puppet Productions.
I mean, if the hey, look, if the stock shares are a penny, like you could just buy the whole cup. Because look, I mean, I don't know how any of this shit works, right? But if you were to be able to buy all the Cumulus, that means you owe whatever Cumulus owns, right? I mean, I don't know how it works, but
Hey,
if
look,
if that
dude.
shit's a
Hey, hang on,
penny,
hang on, hang on, hang on. You know what our show's called, right?
oh
The
yeah,
Dumber Zone. I don't know any of this shit. What are you saying to me right now? You're talking in
I
hieroglyphics. I don't know what you're
well,
saying.
we both know nothing. It's just
We're, I have no idea what you're saying, young man.
I mean, it's just like I've always said, like stock market, like all that shit is just made up. Like it doesn't exist. Like there's a
Yeah,
there's a clip of a comedian that comes up once in a while. I don't know if you've seen it, and he's like, I don't know, I don't understand like why this shit like it's like this is the stock market. Like the stock market, they turn it off at the end of every day, like 3 o'clock, whatever time it is, they turn it off, and then the next day in the morning they turn it back on. And then they're like, hey, the thing's gonna crash, everything's going to shit. Dude's like, then why the fuck just don't turn it back on? Like, why you gotta turn it back on? Like, we're doing this to ourselves. Like, just fucking leave it
just
off, turn it off, and just
turn it
leave it
off.
off. Yes. And he's like, and they say like, hey, the dollar is being devalued, and he's like, just say it's not. Just say that it isn't. That's it.
I've
That's all you
seen
gotta
that.
do.
I've,
Yeah, just say that it isn't. Like
yeah.
what? And that's always been my thing. Is like all that shit seems so made up. It's like just say it's not. And so what? Like what's the big deal? No,
I
that's
love
all
it.
shit that we can't comprehend.
Yeah.
We put a few
That.
nickels on the thing, but for us it's like gambling.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not. I'm not doing it because that's gonna be my retirement or that's how I'm gonna.
No.
It's just gambling. If you can turn a nickel into 10 cents,
Yeah.
yay.
Well, but again, like who are we? Nancy Pelosi that gets insider information and then makes a trade before
Exactly.
things happen. Who are we to say?
Exactly. Who are we to? Yeah, exactly.
All right, political ran over. Okay, I'm apolitical. Okay, I like politics like I like my sexes. Just all of
Asexual.
them.
Just A.
And none of them. But then also all of them or none.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Have none, have all.
Have none, have all. Do your thing. It's fine. Okay, so you touched on Shador. What are we
Was that?
thinking about the draft? As I said, we touched on
It was
Shador. What are we thinking about the draft? It was kind of anticlimactic.
it was very, very, I mean, the whole thing was Shador, I think. That's what everybody was excited about.
It
And
turned
yeah,
into
I mean, a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't a draft with a bunch of huge names. I mean, it was a
Nope.
kind of like fill your spots, fill your needs kind of thing. It wasn't very exciting like in past years where you've had three,
Yeah,
four, five that you're like, hey, teams need this team. I wonder who's gonna get. You know what I mean? Cam Ward, I don't really know a whole lot, really. Like, you know what I'm saying? I haven't heard a whole lot, but Shador and the Browns, like, have you seen that QB room? Like, I don't understand what they're doing because they can't
yeah.
keep them all. They
No,
can't keep
they
them
got they
all.
got. Well, we're not going to run them down, but I think the dumb zone did a cool because again, it's the Browns, so
Yeah,
Dan is
that's what I'm
happy.
saying. Like, it's just nothing is more
But
Browns than like,
flat then that what they did. Dylan
yeah,
Gabriel, right, and then trade up to get Shador, and then
yeah,
they already had Flacco. They locked him
yeah.
down. I forget there are two more. I forget whoever else is. Oh,
Well, I
Deshaun
mean, and they
still
have
or
and they
no? He's
have
gone.
Deshaun. I mean,
Yeah, who knows, man? I was talking to a
it'd
buddy.
be.
I got a buddy.
Uh,
I,
let
I,
me
I got
let
a
me
buddy,
let me
Adrian.
write
I
it
got
down.
a, I got a buddy. Right, that. I got a buddy at work, and he's he's a big Cowboys fan, and he was like, I mean, as am I. Let's be clear. You're a Commanders fan, Redskins, R.I.P.
Redskins fan.
But okay, well, don't yell at me, sir. I didn't make up the names, all right? So, but
Don't
he
insult
was
me.
saying, "Don't insult me. How dare you?" No, but he was talking about. He was like, "Man, what's the big deal?" We and he played at Baylor. He's my age. He was an
Mhm.
offensive lineman at Baylor back in the day, and he was like, "What's the big deal? We gotta, with what's his name, with Tyler Booker." He's like, "This is great.
Mhm.
It's gonna change the offense." I was like, "Really? It's gonna change the offense?" I was like, "Maybe." I mean, and I know he's right fundamentally, right? Like we
Yeah.
shore up the offensive line for the Cowboys, and then that'll allow for play action for
Yeah.
one leg Dak. But then who is he going to throw to, and that whole bit? And that's what I was telling him. I'm like, no, this was not an exciting draft for us,
No.
at least for the Cowboys. Commanders, you were telling me the Commanders down line as far as who they got. I don't know, man. I think they're going to be hot, dude. That's more exciting to me than the Cowboys, and
Yeah.
I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. So
Yeah. I mean, on our end, like it's on the Cowboys end, like I understand it, but it's like if you can give him all the time in the world, but if he ain't got nobody to throw to, like, you know, like what's the bit?
yeah,
But like, in Washington, we got McLaurin, we got Debo now,
yep,
you know,
yep.
and like I said, that's what I wanted from seeing last year. Is like we're the ones that needed to shore up that O line because Jaden got sacked a ton, and his frame is not even. I mean, his frame is not what RG3's was, and RG3's got beat the hell up. You know what I'm saying? So it those that's the thing. Like those picks aren't exciting, but I guess once the season starts and you see like, oh, okay, I guess that's where that you know what I mean. Those are the kind of things I guess you have to do. But yeah, they're not exciting. They're not sexy. Nobody likes to talk about them because they're dudes that you're never going to hear of again. You know what I mean? If
Well,
they're good,
well,
you're
and
never going
again,
to hear them.
again, but okay. So to your point, it's Zach Martin. Never hear about Zach Martin. That dude
Yeah,
was a star, and you never
yeah,
heard about him. But that's the point. To your point, never
yeah.
got his
Yeah,
penalty
that's a
ratio
good
was
thing.
insane.
Yeah,
That's a great thing, and he did his job. So yes, it's not a sexy pick, but um, I don't know, man. All that to say, I'm excited. We're in a fantasy football league that's high stakes. I'm just looking forward to football, and it's mainly because there's a hole in my heart
oh,
because of Luca.
I mean, we live the year just for the 5 6 months of football. That's it. Like everything
Yep,
else is just kind of meandering through, trying to get to the start of the football season.
it's just cricket in Grand Prairie.
That's it. I was gonna tell you we can't uh we can't what you call it not have a podcast and not talk about the topic du jour because it brought something up. The 100 men versus one gorilla bit that my thing was
that took
whenever I hear these hypotheticals, like it always reminds me of our bag of dicks hypothetical because it's like, dude, there's so many variables, but nobody ever asks about the variables. You know what I mean? Like you can't just say this thing and then have an opinion without knowing. You know what I'm saying? There's too many variables.
the
Like,
variables.
okay, 100 men versus a gorilla. Okay, 100 dudes like us. Like he's gonna rape every single one of us before he smashes our heads in. Like, okay, but it's like, what if it's like, 100 UFC fighters or 100, 50 and 50 like football players or something? Like, there's no way they wouldn't beat the shit out of the fucking gorilla. Like, I just don't see. And again, it variables. It also depends. Like, hey, are we gonna stand around and take turns like like in the Van Damme movies? Like, no, I've never seen anybody beat up people where like all 5'7" motherfuckers just jump the dude at one time. Like, yeah, if we're standing in line taking turns, yeah, everybody's gonna get their heads bashed in. But but let's plan this out. If everybody just plans this out, I think it's possible. But like I said, there's just too many variables, and it frustrates me that
Variables.
nobody ever asks about the variables. It's not just as simple as like just 100 dudes. Like, no, it depends. What kind of dudes? You know what I mean? You drop a gorilla
Yeah.
like I said, you drop a gorilla in the middle of a freaking church men's retreat, like they're gonna get their heads bashed in. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just all gonna be on their knees praying that this fucking gorilla doesn't beat the shit out of them. So, like I said, it just depends. It depends. Just
Well,
like our
well,
bag of dicks scenario, like there's a lot
so
of variables that you need to know before you make these decisions.
okay, so hang on, hang on. So what's funny? Okay, so you say that's why I broke Twitter, dude. Last week, no, 2 weekends ago, right? Because of the
Yeah,
variables. And what did what did Jake say this week about that scenario where he was like him and Blake they were like to your point, too many variables. What kind of men are we talking? 100 Marines,
yeah,
maybe. And then Jake
yeah,
goes, Jake goes, well, what if it's just regular dudes and from the mall? And then Dan
yeah,
goes, what mall? What mall?
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They're
See,
talking about
like
they're
everything.
talking about they're talking about North Park Mall or Town East. Town East, they got a shop, boy.
Redbird.
Just saying. Hey.
That's what I'm saying. Like it
I mean,
depends. It just depends. But everybody that I've seen, most people just have an opinion straight up without like, no, how can you know without knowing all the
yeah,
details and the variables in there?
yeah.
You can't really know. Again, bringing it back. One day we'll talk about our bag of dicks hypothetical. Like
Well, I
there's
was
too many
hoping.
variables.
Okay, I was okay. So my that was my second point. I was hoping we could unpack the bag of
Oh, we can.
penicities. Okay,
We
so
can.
lay it out for the. I mean, we already. Here's the deal. We have to explain it. We got to. We already mentioned it. Let's bring it up. And also, I need the crew. We need to have a specific pod with the crew because there's a lot of backstory in our
To
stories
the
that
yeah,
yeah, us fighting at the tailgate, me and you not fighting, debating about Batman.
debating. Yes.
This bag
De-
hypothetical. Okay, so lay it out for us. What is the
the
bag
bag.
hypothetical?
Well, it's not specific as far as, but it could be anything. It's just, hey, would you rather
Yes.
do X? And it could be something effed up that happens to you randomly every day, once or whatever it is the that part of the hypothetical is interchangeable. That's the X. You can whatever. Or do you take the other side, which is you would eat a bag of dicks one time and you don't ever have to worry about the other thing happening. It's just done one time. It's just like the thing that we've talked about, like the eating the frog thing. Like, do you want to just do that and not have to worry about this thing that who knows when it's gonna come? Whether it's a giraffe that just appears and shits on your head randomly throughout the week, and you don't know when
Sure.
and where, like it's whatever. That part can be whatever. But then we started talking because there's another part too about this hypothetical. We would decide on which one was, whether it was the giraffe shitting on you randomly throughout the week, once a week, you didn't know when or whatever. But we would throw these hypotheticals to taxi drivers whenever we were on a trip, either to Vegas or wherever. This was, I think, Uber drivers. We would ask this hypothetical, hey, would you rather this or eat a bag of dicks? Right? And I think it was actually either an Uber driver or a cabbie that brought up the question about the dicks in the bag. You know what I mean? Because then we started thinking, okay, like, what's a bag? Is it like a Walmart grocery plastic bag? Is it a paper sack, like them old paper sacks, that you roll up the tops to, like, back in the day with your lunches and stuff? Like, that all matters, right? Because a garbage bag, like, what? You know what I mean? And so that then devolved, and that then we got into more specifics of, like, okay, so what size are they that are in this bag? Like, is it thick and balls? Is it, like we just started, right? We just started figuring, like, it depends what kind of, what's in the bag, what size are in the bag, does it matter? So, like I said, there's a lot of variables so that you can make this decision. Because if it's a bag full and you say it's a sack and we decided it's a paper sack and it's like two huge fucking 12 inches in there, or or is it or is it a bunch of micros? Like, you gotta pop a bunch of them, or are you gnawing on two? Like, all these things matter when you have to do it. So that's basically
Is
the
it? Is
the
it?
the bag of dicks hypothetical.
I mean, standing ovation, brother. Like you you got it. And especially you're you're right. Like we were walking down a different path, and then that one Uber driver, and I want to say it was like 3 trips to Vegas ago,
Yeah.
and we were down the strip coming back from McCarran Airport, and that question unlocked the rest of the hypothetical conversation we've had for like 3 4 years. Where it was like, well, what kind of bag and what kind of D? And
Yeah.
that unlocked a whole world, if you will, of of possibility. We talk about
Because it
guys. We talk
because it matters.
matters, and
It
it just
matters.
reminds me. It just reminds me of I don't know, man. The dumb zone will go down these rabbit holes of different hypotheticals, but that's something that we could not see each other as a crew together. The five of us with our families now and the kids and everything. We'll be having a cookout at your house, and no matter what the conversation, it will always steer towards. So, what kind are they shaved? We talking about
Exactly.
what are we talking
There's
about,
always an
Canty?
extra. There's always a variable that we didn't think of that it's something that could change your mind.
That's right.
It could be like, I mean, of course, if it's a paper sack compared to a Walmart sack, that's a different decision. A garbage bag, of course, like you got to know all these things. Like I said, the same thing with the gorilla thing. Like you gotta, okay, let me
Yeah.
tell me this, tell me that. Is it this? Is it that? Then I could make a more informed decision.
Right.
But just like
Right.
that, like no, that's not enough for me to be able to tell you who would win.
But but here's what I tell you. You know who wins? Everyone, especially the people that
Everyone
we
wins.
ask. Whether it's an
Yeah.
yeah, whether it's an Uber driver, and yes, the main one is the main one is the bag or a giraffe taking a dump on your
Yeah.
head when you're having at any moment you could be at your
It could
wedding
be
day,
yes. It's
and
like
and it
it's
would
like a
dump.
once a week for the rest of your life. Like this giraffe is just gonna
Never
come
know.
out of nowhere and just take a diarrhea shit on you top of your head, whether you're in the meeting, whether you're sleeping, whether you're on the toilet, whether
You're
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 at
you're
church.
you're,
It doesn't matter. It can
you're
just
in,
happen wherever. And going that
whether you're
long, it's
interview
going to happen everywhere. It's gonna happen
you're
during every
interviewing.
occasion. Yes. The chances are, like I said, if you're having it once a week for the rest of your life, like it's gonna happen everywhere you are. Odds are. Or you just eat the paper sack, sit there until you finish them, and then you don't ever have
Yeah.
to worry about the giraffe appearing ever
Yeah.
again or anything.
And to me, the biggest part is, like you said, this hypothetical is a philosophy example of do you want it now or do you want to release your anxiety forever, right? So
Yeah,
what's funny is in my mind, what I imagine is is a sack lunch, right? With
yeah.
the D's, and it's either in my mind it's either edamame or it's edamame or it's Paula Deen sausages. And at that point, you've made your choice. So just do it.
Yeah.
Like go the full. You don't want a giraffe following you around when you're baptizing your
Because
first child.
and that's what we were trying to figure out if it mattered or if once you knew the volume, which is how much fits in the sack, does it matter? You know what I'm saying? Is
You
there
just
one all rolled up in there, or is it can you just pop them like M&Ms like you said, or do you have to like gnaw on that hole, or like I don't know if that matters to some people.
look, man. Yeah, at that point, look if that's your two choices, I'll go for the bag every day.
I mean,
I mean,
it's like
uh, look.
it's like anything else, right? It's just a thing. It's just a thing.
Yes, yes.
But like I said, it is actually if you had to actually make that decision, it's not as easy. It's not as easy.
No, it's not
But
easy.
but
No,
like I
if
said,
you
you're
real
kind of
real
but like I
talk,
said,
real
once
talk.
you make that decision, it doesn't matter.
No, you're committed,
Yeah.
right? You either have a giraffe following you around, okay? You're taking your firstborn to get their first house. Here's the keys. Like,
Bam.
sorry, son. I just got pants by a giraffe again.
You know, You know how that is.
You know, I these effing giraffe, these giraffes, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, but that's why a lot of those hypotheticals are like that way. Like a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't know. Well, I need to know again. A lot of them have variables. It just depends on a lot of these little things sometimes,
Yeah,
these little details, could make
that's right.
you be like, all right, like fuck it. It's not that bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's not that
yeah.
bad at all.
It's fine. It's all fine. And it's funny because the Dumb Zone does it a lot more. They used to do it on the ticket, right? These
Yeah,
hypotheticals, right? And it's funny now that they have more freedom, their hypotheticals have gotten so much crazier. And
yeah.
they put people in weird. They put their guests in weird scenarios. Like when they interviewed Eric Nadel, great interview,
Hmm.
right? Like if you go back and listen to that interview, Dan is looking for a way to trip up Eric Nadel. That's his
Hmm.
that's his live
Yeah,
hypothetical in his mind. You know what I mean? Like that's just
yeah.
what a genius that Dan is. And if you notice in that interview, he trips Nadell up a couple times. Nadell was talking about his mental health issues that he suffered with, right? And that's a real
Hmm.
deal. But then in the middle of a breath that Nadell took, Dan just played the sounder for early bird CBD,
Oh yeah,
and it was hilarious. Like it's just that's who he is. Dan is Norm Macdonald,
yeah.
dude. He just
And that's how we
wants
were.
to elicit.
That's how we were talking about the other time about the podcast with the girls. Like they're still gonna do their bits. Like they understand the whole thing, the mental issue. Like, but they're still gonna do what they do. They're still gonna do what they do. You know what I mean? Like you can't. That's like you gotta dance with the one who brung you. Like this is what people are waiting for. Nobody's like, oh man, like it's I'm offended that they did this. Like no, like that's what they're supposed to do. That's what's fucking hilarious. You know what I'm saying? That we
Yes,
get it. We also get it that it's not mean spirit. That's just what they do. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
yes, yes. And speaking of, I've not done yet, but the glorious crossover. Speaking of this, with Steve Noviello, Last Call, and the Dumb Zone,
Hmm.
highest rate. They beat out every nighttime,
Yeah,
whatever night show.
yeah.
That was solid, dude. I'm not done with it, and I've seen screen
Me
grabs when they
neither.
take
I
their shirt
I
off. But
recorded them. I recorded them, but I
yes,
haven't watched them.
yeah, I saw the first. I saw it was 5 episodes, right? I saw the
Yeah.
first three, dude. Hilarious, man. I mean, them boys with Steve Noviello, like the opposite odd couple, Dumb Zone and Steve Noviello, right? It's just
Hmm.
it's gold, dude. It's gold. I'm excited for these boys, and my only question is, what homosexual man can you and I get to collaborate with if it's not you?
Yeah. I mean, it can't be us. We're already on the show. It can't be us. We're already on the show.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair.
We can find one. We can find one
We'll find we'll find somebody. Anyway, yeah, we'll table that for business Wednesday. You and I.
for sure.
Oh man, dude, so much to cover. I think we need a two-parter of we're back after you went to rehab for
Yep.
the deal you had to do
For the thing,
for that one thing that we can't talk about yet because we're trying to get this thing published, right? We're trying to go public with this thing.
and we don't
Okay,
want to get sued.
we don't want to get sued. We don't want to get sued. Man, dude, last thing I'll drop on you. Yeah, we don't. You and I. Okay, hang on. You and I in court doing a transcript of a bag of pigs and a giraffe.
See,
Like they
that's good.
made the like.
Now it'd be fun to get sued just
It's
for
not.
that.
I don't know, man. I may be like Jake. You'll have to hug me when you drop me off after we win. You'll have to hug me in the porch awkwardly, like Dan. Like Dan hugged Jake. They never touch each other or hug, and Jake was throwing up on himself in the courtroom and crying. That's gonna be me. I'm Jake. You're Dan. You're gonna hug me awkwardly after we win.
That's where I'm. That's where you got to watch out, because that's where I might take advantage of you. You'll be vulnerable.
I mean, it's happened before. Okay,
I mean, hey,
that's a story for another time.
that's
Okay,
for the other podcast.
that's that's behind the paywall. Paywall,
That's dumber at night.
dude. I've got so much more. We're about an hour, but I'm gonna leave you with this. Uh,
Hmm.
I told you when you and I were talking, right? So I had some. I have another buddy. Write that down. have another buddy, right? She works with me, and her daughter her daughter gave us tickets. She works for the agency that represents Choctaw, the PR agency,
Hmm.
right? So we got on the 17 where the Dome Zone was going to be yesterday, or no, Friday. Sorry,
Yeah.
Friday before it rained, and we were in the Choctaw Suite, really jazzed about it. Except I found out I had to work late. It was a whole deal. But then it started raining really bad, and it
Yeah.
worked out because the boys weren't there. They ended up
No.
pivoting to
Yeah.
yesterday,
To
and
yesterday.
you brought up a point, and I want to hear more about this. So it was a great broadcast. I'm halfway through when they live stream from the 17th green.
Hmm.
But you mentioned something that piqued my interest. So Cirque du Soleil possibly aligning. I mean, it's already there with
Yeah.
what's his name? What's it? Mikey with Mike Soroy,
Yeah.
right? But you mentioned something about no puppet, possibly just like the Mom Game and the other podcasts that they kind of have now that have transferred over.
And it was
Tell me
something,
about
it
that.
was just a picture. That picture I sent you was something I believe they just posted up on Twitter. And at first I thought it was something old, but no, Danny's in it. And you can tell it's a new picture, like a new thing. And so it has everybody speculating, like, hey, maybe there's. And I'm guessing since he was waiting for his non-compete and his suspension and his what do you call it, to run
Oh,
out, it might be
Severance.
around that time where his severance is done and he's a free man, and they can go ahead and do whatever they want. So I would, like I said, that's what everybody's speculating, and I don't see why not. You know what I mean? I don't see why that wouldn't be a possibility. It would be awesome. It would be awesome for sure.
It's a natural fit, and God, they're so good together. And one of the funniest bits of the first, I listened to the first 25 minutes maybe this morning because I was busy yesterday, right?
Hmm.
Um, so they're all there, man. The twins, the Soroy twins, the Power twins, you know, uh, Jake, Blake, and Dan,
Yeah.
and they were introing each other, whatever. And Dan was making a parallel to his twins, the Roast twins,
Yeah.
and how when he has one alone, one of his girls alone,
Yeah.
it's okay. But when the twins unite, I mean, they just become
It's
like
all.
a mega thing. And so
It's like
so
it's
uh,
like
Dan,
it's like
Dan
Thundercats
and Dan brought that up for the Soroy twins. He was like, "Man, it's a golf Saturday.
yeah.
It's a beautiful day. We're in the Tito's tent, Soroy's favorite. And when you
And you
get
see
these
when
two twins together,
they did like a well, Jake did his own like breaking news sounder. When again, I don't know which one's which. I didn't think they looked very much the same, but I think they do now that I see them together. Like I can't tell which one's which. And so I guess he came back with like his drink chips. So he had a stack of like drink chips, and so Jake did like his own like breaking sounder type thing, breaking news sounder when he walked back because he was all excited because he had his chips, and I'm guessing he's getting Dan's chips, Jake's chips. He's getting everybody's
no,
chips.
no, 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 no. Listen, did you hear? Okay, so I haven't gotten to that part yet, but at the very beginning,
Yeah,
so
I've only seen the very
Mike
beginning to
Soroy.
there. Like I haven't seen a whole lot.
Okay, so I'm not as far as you are at the beginning.
Yeah.
So in the very beginning, when they're doing the intros,
Mhm.
you could see Mike Soroy, and he's like looking over his shoulder and this and that. So they know the guy that the Tito's
Yeah,
brand
yeah,
rep. They know
yeah,
him, and he wasn't there that day. So Mike Soroy was going through that scenario where he was texting that guy, and he was like, "Hey, you up? Where you at?" Like casually. He's like, I'm trying to be casual, but I want his
yeah,
tokens because those tokens are given by the rep, and they're free.
yeah,
Yeah, it's free drinks, but it's
yeah.
not just assumed or given. And so Mike Soroy he texts him and he goes, "Oh, I'm not there, man." And then Mike Soroy kept asking him like, "So who's here so I can get tokens?"
Like,
And trying to get some tokens, dog. Make
yeah.
it casual. And he sent him his second in command that was there in a red shirt. And that's where
Mhm.
I got to, where he was looking for this guy that had
I think
tokens.
okay.
And so what you're telling me is he found them, and that's why
Yeah.
like his whole mission
Yeah.
was getting free drinks.
Because I haven't actually watched it because yesterday when it started, I put it on the TV, but I was like I said back and forth in the house doing stuff in the office, so I would catch some because I like on Monday I'm gonna listen to the whole thing, uh, to the whole podcast. You know what I'm saying? The audio
Yeah,
of it, but I had it on,
yeah,
so every time I would pass by, I would catch just little clips of what was going on. and I just happened to pass by when he got back, and it had his stack of chips for the Tito's thing. I was like, we're good to go.
Amazing, amazing, dude. Well, listen, man, it's been real and it's been fun, and it's also been real fun. But
Both.
I'll tell you this. Okay, we've got a schedule now.
Hey,
I want to tell the
the
story.
pleasure's all on this side of the table. The pleasure's all on this side of the table.
The pleasure is on this side of my pants. So, thank you, thank you. No, we've got a schedule week to week. We're gonna hit Friday night. We've got some people coming. I want to get the remote on site at PhD in Oak Cliff. We got a buddy
Yeah.
Chipper, big SMU guy. That's who we tailgate with. We got some stuff coming up, but also we need to get the crew together because we got a lot of backstory. And not that it's interesting, but I don't care.
To
So
somebody. And
whatever.
hey, we'll be
Who
able to do
cares,
these things if we do a tailgate or something. We make a whole day of it.
bro?
It'll be like a
It's
tailgate
gonna be
remote.
fun. It's good. I'm just waiting on a Cumulus like station to pick me up, and then we just purchase this thing. And if we can sell for 2 cents, if we can look,
Hey,
if our stock,
we could probably have stock for a penny
hey, why not us, buddy? You and I, why not us? Is all I'm trying to
if they
say.
can do it.
We'll sell. Hey, listen, we we don't have to go Nasdaq. We can go the Nikkei or whatever the freaking North Korea stock market is called. I
Well,
don't know, bro.
isn't there not like a Texas stock exchange bullshit or something?
Oh yeah, they got their headquarters moved to Texas.
Right? Yeah.
I want to ring the bell. Write that down. I want to ring the bell in front of Wheels Abbott.
It'll be a triangle bet. It'll be one of those called the fucking
Chili's on.
yeah.
Chili's on,
Yeah. You come ring the triangle.
brother. It's been good, man. We got another one in the can. You know that. You know what? This is a very important anniversary here, milestone, whatever you want to call it. You know that they say if you make it to 4 in the can podcast and you post them, you push them out, and you made
Or
it.
anything in the can.
Anything, four in the can to post, then you're doing better than like 40 or 50% of other people that have tried to do this.
Yeah.
So and
And like
don't
we
mark
said,
me or
this is all still practice and chatting and just us getting used to being in front of the camera because we're not people that are comfortable with that. So we're just kind of getting used to it. It'll get there. Watch
that's
one
right,
day we'll look back at this. We'll be like, holy shit! Like what a bunch of assholes.
man. We'll be not only that, we'll be sitting there with a giraffe that we bought, ready to shit on command, and a bag on the other side, and we'll be like, look at us, we made
Hey,
it. We bought our own giraffe.
we're already have enough things for merch. Like there's giraffe shitting on you. There's bags of dicks. Like it's all.
There's there's higher Miko. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
bud.
Come on. Hey,
Uh huh.
we're gonna put it in the
Uh-huh.
shop. Watch. We're gonna put it in the shop. Look out
Come
for it.
on,
We're
big
gonna put it
dog.
in the shop. We're not gonna wait on somebody else to do it. We're just gonna do it.
Come on.
We're just gonna do it.
We're gonna do it, brother. Have a good one. Watch out for your taint. I love you so hard.
Always hobby harder.